Hi everybody, it's James of Cryptoconsh, and today we're going to look at a new token on the blockchain called Umee. Umee, Umee. Anyway, it's catchy. So we're going to look at their social following, their tokenomics. What is their actual purpose? A breakdown of how it actually works. Briefly what the platform looks like, what the Umee token is actually used for, and my final thoughts. So let's get into it. First, we can see they've been around 1.5 years on Twitter and they have over 53,000 followers. Not bad going. Their Telegram is doing okay with 12,000 followers, and their Reddit is pretty weak source with 642 members. I would show you Discord, however, Discord have recently banned me for being a robot. Thank you, Discord. Great work. Next, let's have a look at tokenomics. Yes, I know you're all sad, and I'll probably see this in the comments because you're used to airdrop videos. When airdrop, bro? I'm sorry, guys, no airdrop. All right, so let's have a look at how these tokens are distributed. The first 1% goes to the advisors, which is actually a considerable amount of money if we take a look at their market cap of nearly 2 billion. That's a lot of money. So well done just for advising the project. Next, Umee Labs, the corporate entity that invested in this. No big deal, just $200 million, yeah. The team, that is a large portion. What I find interesting about this as well is it's subject to a 6-month cliff, vested over 30 months. That does concern me a bit. I would expect to have around 5 years on a big project like this, for comfort and safety, just so there isn't any massive sell-offs. Before I continue, I must say I do like Umee's white paper. Cryptocurrency is really the Wild West, so it's really nice to see an actual organization put time into this. Yes, it is run by a corporate entity, as we can see, but we cannot deny that brings a certain level of professionalism. Now, moving forward, team massive, as we said, private rounds of the early investors, yet public sale. So what we can see already is 45% of this organization is owned by the initial investors. So even if you give 46% to the community, 1% more, we all know that when we have a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, you do not get 100% community involvement. A lot of people invest in these, stake their tokens, and then forget about it. Ultimately, I believe the initial founders are still going to have a controlling share unless this portion changes over time. And obviously, they want to develop the ecosystem, and that should be funded as well. Moving forward, as we can see, you can buy this token on osmosis. And if you were to stake this token, the inflation is currently at 14%. We can see at the moment that only 1/5 of the tokens are being bonded. So these guys that are bonding these 2 billion tokens over the year are going to get access to 14% of this 10 billion. So they're going to get 1.4 billion tokens. So 1.4 billion tokens as a percentage of 2 billion is 70%. That's not a bad return if you ask me. That's like 100 years in a British bank to get that return. All right, what's their purpose? What they're bloody doing here? So they're a layer 1. And they want to benefit from the beauty that is interoperability on the Cosmos. What do I mean by that? As part of the IBC, all of these are interconnected. They can communicate with each other for low fees at fast speeds. It's an absolutely sensational setup, and it brings a huge advantage over other chains because every single entity on here is sovereign and they can govern themselves, yet they are all interconnected via the IBC. Mwah, beautiful. Now, interoperable, so you're going to be able to use many of your assets with this. And it's going to be a DeFi platform, okay? So DeFi, decentralized finance. So you're going to be able to use your assets on the Cosmos to play around with assets on the Ethereum network. You're going to be able to use your Ethereum assets, known as ERC20 tokens, and you're going to be able to use those on the Cosmos. We'll get into that in a moment. They, of course, have a strong team with great experience and a lot of funding and have a very strong backing. Now, how does it work? Well, this is their white paper, okay? It's a little bit confusing. I'm going to try and break it down as simply as I can for you, okay? I've made a little PPT. On the Umee platform, I'm going to deposit $200 worth of atoms as an asset, okay? At this point in time, that is 10 atoms. So that's just the value of my deposit. Now, I've deposited this so people can borrow from me, blah, blah, blah. It's in the pool. I get 10% a year on that, okay? Following me so far? Now, to add the next layer of complexity to this, when I give this to the pool, they will give me 10 U atoms. Now, what are U atoms, you might ask? This is why it's called Umee, and this is where their general advantage will come in. So not only can you take 10% from your atom deposit, these 10 U atom tokens that you get that are one-to-one with atom, you can now use Gravity Bridge, pay a fee, bridge them over to Ethereum, and they can become an ERC20 token. And now what you can do is buy Ethereum, borrow Ethereum, play with assets on the Ethereum blockchain. If you wanted to, you could stake it on that blockchain and make more money. Pretty cool, right? That's the first step. But you might be asking yourselves, why would I bridge it over to Ethereum, and why would I bloody borrow Ethereum if there's fees to borrow Ethereum? So why on earth would you do this? Well, so we'll go through the process again. You've done that, you've deposited your atoms, you have got your 10 U atoms now, you bridge that over to the Ethereum network, okay? And now, you decided to borrow Ethereum at 6%. You were still up on your investment, right? You were still 4% up if you look at the averages. But now you have options to play with Ethereum. You can get even higher rewards by staking at 10% a year. You could use this Ethereum to make yourself more money. And it's about you mix and matching the risk reward ratios. Now, this is what is crazy though. You might be able to deposit Ethereum, right? And then you can borrow off that Ethereum again, a lesser amount. But you have to be very careful because DeFi is very strange. Let's have a look at this example to show you why it can cause some problems. So I got my 10 atoms worth 200, right? I deposit my 10 atoms again. Okay, I'm getting my interest. Lovely. Now I receive my 10 U atom, I bridge it to Ethereum, and I borrow $160 of DAI. So I'm borrowing $160 based on my $200, right? So there's a 20% variance there. The problem is, if my original asset of atoms, my 10 atoms, if that drops to 150, I'm now under collateralized. So what happens then? Bang, they have to automatically sell. They sell on the open market at a heavy discount to make sure that they don't lose on the loan they just gave you. So you have to be really careful. It's really risky, but a lot of people are doing this. They are putting in 100, borrowing 80, putting in 80, borrowing 60, putting in 60, borrowing 40. So they are just looping their investments, reinvesting them, and the interest they're receiving each time is higher than the cost of borrowing, so they can keep doing it. But if there is a flash crash, bang, that's it. So my advice is to be careful. They also have the Me token, and it's a very similar concept, except the Me token is just for staking. I'll put it here. U token is depositing an asset, Me token is staking. But ultimately, both of them can be collateralized, and you can play around with the Ethereum network, and vice versa as well. You can take your ERC20 assets from the Ethereum network and whip them over to the Cosmos. All you'll be needing to do is use that Umee protocol to do it. I hope you got all that. Now I bet you're asking, James, what does the Umee protocol look like? Well, let me bloody show you. Looks like this. All right, I've got my wallets connected. At the moment, it is quite simple. If I click on IBC, that's going to be for the Cosmos. You can select the amount of atom you want to send over to Umee, or alternatively, how much Umee you want to send back to the Cosmos address. We can see that these borrow and supply APYs are definitely not accurate. I think this is still in testnet phase, because this is an absolutely exceptional supply APY for Atom. I would be on that. Who on earth would borrow Atom at 188% a year? I bet there was some people that would do that. But anyway, this is what the protocol looks like for now. There's a dashboard that shows your connected wallets. Later on, there'll be assets to click on supply, and you supply them here. Ultimately, you're going to be able to supply lots of different assets on the Cosmos because it's IBC enabled. And you'll be able to check the interest rates for each and pick your best one. If we're collateralizing all these assets, what's the Umee token actually used for? Governance. You can vote on the system. Staking, like I said before. And finally, gas fees on the platform I just mentioned. So these three elements do provide quite a strong use case. Now, onto my conclusions about Umee. Firstly, is it really useful being able to bridge over to Ethereum? The average transaction time is around 15 minutes and the price is around $30. Whereas moving anything around the IBC on the Cosmos is a fraction of a dollar and takes around 7 seconds. Is it going to top the staking rewards of Juno or Osmo, which are 110% and 80% respectively, while all being on the Cosmos? So are we stepping backwards in time? Or is it just making it future-proof? Because ultimately, when Ethereum 2.0 comes out, it's going to be able to scale and it's going to be cheaper, and this is just doing everything in advance. Secondly, the risk factor. You're going to be able to lend to markets and borrow from the same markets and lend to the markets and borrow from the same markets. I know it puts the trust in the user's hands and they become their own bank, but the degree of risk is very high. So I do recommend caution using these protocols. Thirdly, do you really have any power with the governance? If 45% is owned by initial investors and community participation is notorious for being very low, are you really going to be able to have a say? I guess it's going to depend on how many people stake, how active the validators are, and how decentralized the validators are. And one final point. Bridges are being hacked left, right, and center. How are they going to be able to guarantee the security of this for the future? This is something not to be taken lightly, and they need to put a lot of time, skill, effort, and energy into guaranteeing this level of security. Because otherwise, why would you leave the Cosmos? Anyway, I am absolutely for interoperability. I am 100% for bridges that are able to communicate with each other. And in the future, that's the way it's going to be. All these blockchains are going to be able to communicate with each other, and it's a wonderful thing. Let's just hope in the future it's secure, it's safe, it's fast, and it's cheap. Now, I know that was a long one. This one was a really interesting one for me, and I'm really curious about what you guys think. So let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, it's James with Cryptoconsh. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you again.